uniquely human. Beauty of diversity, the real take. I was around the age of 13 when a boy in school casually threw a sentence at me. Hey, you're disfigured. Up until then, I never viewed myself that way. I lived like any other kid, running around, playing, laughing, existing, without ever questioning how my wrist looked or how my arms were. But that one sentence planted a thought that wasn't mine. I started noticing the curve in my wrist, how my radius looked a little bulged out, and I realized my arms were shorter compared to kids my age. I was actually around the age of 9 when my parents first noticed that something was unusual about my wrist. After I got sick, we then went to a couple of hospitals in my state and Guwahati as well, but nothing was really diagnosed about my wrist. I had normal mobility, but because of the structure being unique, my parents never allowed me to lift heavy things. And personally speaking, I never wanted my weak wrist to be the reason for not being a normal person. So I used to force myself to do things which otherwise I was told not to, because my wrist was weak. And I was often made to cover my wrist because it looked abnormal and people would find it odd or look down at me for the unique wrist I had. I remember as a kid I was made to hide my wrist with bangles and watches or long sleeve shirts whenever I stepped out of my house. But as I developed my interest in medicine just recently, I realized how the problem was never the unique bodies, but our perspectives. We have been conditioned to believe that there's one version of normal, and anything else outside it is flawed or something to be fixed. But the human body works through all these differences, and differences aren't bad. We are a collective of many unique variation, because biology thrives on variation, genetics thrives on differences, evolution thrives on unpredictability, so why can't our minds? And after all these, what stayed with me was not the physical difference, but it was how people reacted to it, especially the elders. Some felt pity for me, others made fun of me, some looked down on me, and I was the center of conversation in any meetups. Not in a curious or positive manner, but in pity and pain. I remember as a child being confused because I naturally never felt bad about my body, but everyone else seemed to think I should. Later, when I got older and started reading and searching up about what exactly could be my case, I came across many such conditions and thought to myself how they must have felt. So through this article, I want to reach out to many people and spread awareness about unique bodies and features along with my own experiences and highlight how us as a society can help each other feel embraced, accepted, and included. In medical literature, conditions like meddling deformity, a congenital from birth, variation of bone development, where part of the radius, the forearm bone, stops growing properly during childhood. As a result, the ulna, the other forearm bone, continues normal growth, which can lead to a visibly bowed wrist, shortened forearm, or a prominent ulna. In some cases, the condition is linked to a genetic change in the SHOX gene, typically under the syndrome called Lerry-Well dyschondrosteosis. That said, not every variation is rare or severe. Many individuals live with small differences. Some medical data suggests up to 35% of adults may have a limb length discrepancy, approximately 0.5 to 1.5 centimeter, which often does not cause any functional problem and remains unnoticed. There also exists many traits that make people look unique without affecting their health at all, from heterochromia to different eye colors to birthmarks, chest wall shapes, finger variations, and even naturally flexible joints. Some variations are common, like curved spines or flat feet, while others, like heterochromia or polydactyly, are rare enough to be seen as fascinating biological surprises. Skin, too, carries its own forms of beautiful diversity. Conditions like vitiligo, piebaldism, cafe au lait birthmarks, etc. occur due to variations in pigment cells or genetic expression, none of which has been known so far to affect a person's life expectancy. They simply change how melanin is expressed, In fact, many individuals with vitiligo or albinism are celebrated in fashion and media for the striking appearance, proving that uniqueness is something to be embraced, not hidden. These anatomical variations highlight a truth, that is, biological variation contributes to natural diversity in human bodies. Recognizing these conditions medically helps reshape the narrative. Differences aren't always disorders to be fixed, but part of the spectrum of human variation, and it doesn't determine a person's worth, talent, or potential. And these differences reminds us that beauty lies not in uniformity, but in evolution's creativity, and every unique body has a story worth honoring. Learning about these conditions helped me understand that variation is not an exception in biology, it is the rule. The human body expresses itself in countless ways through pigment patterns, eye color differences, birthmarks, and diverse limb shapes. These traits arise from natural changes in bone growth, genes, or cell behavior. So instead of viewing them as flaws, we can choose to see them as powerful reminders that beauty does not come from sameness, but from the incredible creativity of human biology. To conclude, society is made by us, and I think it's time that we understand that human body is unique to each of us. There's no one size that's more normal or more beautiful. And let's collectively ensure to be kind towards others and ourselves. Changes in words like disability to uniquely able isn't made merely to make them feel good, but because the problem was never their bodies, it was our perspective. If we see a rare flower, it's a marvelous thing, it's special. But when that same uniqueness comes down to a human being, why do we bring it down to pity and pain? Instead, let's view it as the same uniqueness we all share. We all are different, and that's normal. Diversity is how we function and what makes our world truly fascinating and beautiful.